Hello and welcome to this session in which we would look at the asset side of the balance sheet. In the prior session, we looked at the whole balance sheet from an overall perspective. We looked at how the balance sheet helps us in evaluating the company's solvency, liquidity, financial flexibility. We looked at the limitation of the balance sheet. In this session, we will dive deeper into the asset side. And if you remember in the prior session, I told you one way to break the asset side is to break it into current asset and long term. But I told you also under long term, you can break it down into subcategories. So in this session, I'm going to look at current assets separately. Then I would look at non-current long-term asset as one is property, plant, and equipment. One is long-term investment. B, property, plant, equipment. C, intangible assets. And sometimes we could have a D category, a fourth category. Let's not call them letters. Let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4 within the long-term asset. We would examine each section. How is it presented? What goes into each section to understand a little bit more about the balance sheet. I know I'm going to keep saying this throughout this lecture. Every section of the balance sheet, every account of this balance sheet, specifically this balance sheet as well, will be covered much more in depth later on in its own separate chapter. So intermediate accounting or financial accounting is diving into these accounts and examining the accounts for these accounts. So let's go ahead by start to looking at the current asset, break down current assets, and determine the description of the current asset, the categories, the value of it, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
Farhat Accounting Lectures is a supplemental educational tool that's going to help you with your CPA exam preparation as well as your accounting courses. My CPA material is aligned with your CPA review course such as Becker, Roger, Wiley, Gleam, Miles. My accounting courses are aligned with your accounting courses broken down by chapter and topics. My resources consist of lectures, multiple choice questions, true false questions, as well as exercises. Go ahead, start your free trial today.
So current assets, for the purpose of our example, this is the current asset section. First, we need to know what current assets are. Assets are expected to be converted to cash, sell, or consumed within 1 year, or the operating cycle we assume within 1 year. So let's examine these assets separately. Cash, cash equivalent, restricted cash. Notice here it says C note 5, C note 8, C note 2. So we're going to look at notes because on the balance sheet, the figures alone don't make sense unless they are supplemented with notes. So first thing I want you to know is how do we report those current assets? For example, when we have cash and cash equivalent, we would look at note 5 to learn a little bit more. But from a basis of valuation, we report cash at fair value because cash is easy. If you have 1,500 in the bank, you have exactly 1,500 in the bank. Now, if you have foreign currency, you'd have to translate it. Nevertheless, it's reported at fair value. Short-term investments, if you have any short-term investments, generally speaking, it will be reported at fair value. Receivable is reported at net realizable value. Net realizable value is how much you can get how much can you get cash out of this receivable. If you notice here, account and notes receivable net, and see note 7 for further details of how they compute the net amount. Inventories is reported at lower cost or NRV, lower cost or market/NRV. Notice here we would look at note 6. Prepaid expenses are reported at cost. Supplies are reported at cost. The first thing I want you to know that not all assets are reported at cost or fair value. Different current assets are reported. They are valued differently on the balance sheet. Now let's dive into a little bit more into certain current assets. We said cash and cash equivalent, C note 5. Yes, we have 350,000, but what does that include? Well, we classify highly liquid instrument with original maturity of 3 months or less as cash equivalent. Here we have to define what does it mean, cash equivalent. Cash equivalent is a financial instrument that's highly liquid. Highly liquid means it can be converted to cash real quick, and its original maturity date is 3 months or less. Usually those are US Treasury bond or commercial paper. We'll talk about those later on. Then we have some restricted cash, which is Note 8. If we look at Note 8, it says we have restricted cash consists of a certificate of deposit, CD, and this CD is restricted as a collateral for debt services at Bank of America with interest rate ranging from 8 to 10%. So we have a loan at Bank of America, and they want us to keep $75,000 restricted cash as a collateral for that loan. Therefore, this amount, the $75,000, will be listed separately. Now, some might argue that this $75,000 should be listed under other asset, different category. Not necessary. If we can use it, if we can take it out, if we can pay off the loan, it could be used immediately to pay off current liabilities. Therefore, it's okay to keep it here. Now let's take a look at debt investment. These are investments, short-term investments. They could be debt, they could be equity. See Note 2. Note 2, debt investments are reported at fair value. And we'll say something like this: the following schedule summarizes the estimated value as a supplement, and we would look at them. We have corporate notes 100,000, municipal bonds 75,000, US securities 55,000, all reported at fair value, total 230. Therefore, the balance sheet, again, you see this number 230, but you want to know what are the financial instruments, what are the component of this investment, and in the schedule in Note 2 we would look at this. Now more about these topics in future chapters. Now let's take a look at receivable accounts and notes receivable, income taxes receivable. Note 7 will tell us a little bit more. Included in account receivable net and other on our consolidated balance sheet are amounts primarily related to customers. What we're saying is our account receivable is primarily related to what the customer owes us, and this makes sense. We estimated losses on receivable based on known troubled account and historical experience of losses incurred. So we are explaining here what does net mean, because net of allowance, and how do we estimate the losses based on troubled accounts. We look at it and we cannot collect the money, and past experience of losses. Receivable are considered impaired and written off when it's probable that all contractual payment due will not be collected in accordance with the term of the agreement. The allowance was blah blah blah, and we keep on describing. So here we describe when do we write off an account. We have to disclose this policy, and under Note 7 that explain the receivable. Note 10, it says basically, as a result of a settled net operating law dispute in our favor, we expect $7,000 from the federal government. So we're expecting $7,000 from the federal government because we had a net operating loss dispute. We won that dispute, but we're still waiting for the IRS to send us the check. Therefore, we recorded an account receivable, an income tax receivable from the IRS. Looking at other components of the current assets is inventory. Inventory, see Note 6. What could we say about the inventory? Consists of products available for sale, a description of what we considered inventory, accounted for primarily using FIFO, first in, first out, and are valued at lower cost and not realizable value. Simply put, they tell us what is inventory, how do they define inventory, items that we plan to resell. We're using the first in, first out method, and it's valued at lower of cost or net realizable value. Now, because we use lower of cost or net realizable value, this valuation requires us to make a judgment. Remember, one of the weaknesses of the balance sheet is we make a judgment, and this is an example of it. Just like we make an estimate about the troubled account and the written off account, we make a judgment about this. Same thing with inventory. To value it at lower cost or market, we use a judgment based on currently available information about the likely method of disposition, such as through sales to individual customer, return to product vendor, or liquidation, and expected recoverable value of each disposition category. So this is how we use our valuation. We looked at many things. How are we going to sell it? The method of sale. What are the possibility the product being returned, recoverable amount, so on and so forth. That's what we take into account. Now we move from current assets, which we cover long-term assets, and now long-term assets to long-term investments. When you hear the word investments, it means we are invested in stocks or bonds of other companies. So we bought stocks and bonds of other companies. How do we value them? So we want to know, how do we value them? Investments are held longer than one period, are considered long-term investments. Stocks reported at fair value, bonds usually reported at amortized cost. If you don't know what these terms are, don't worry, amortized cost. We'll talk about that later. Long-term investments, they're usually called securities when we buy stocks. Non-consolidated subsidiaries or affiliated company also are listed here. So if we own, for example, 40% of another company or 51% of another company, what we have to do, we have to combine this company that we own, the subsidiary, with the main company. When we consolidate, we have an investment account called, non-consolidated subsidiaries or affiliated company. It's reported in this category. So this is what you will see in these categories. Stocks or bonds that we hold for trading, planning to hold for more than a year, or investment in other companies. An example will be, for example, the Gap store. The Gap store owns Banana Republic. I believe it also owns Old Navy. So these are subsidiaries. So Banana Republic and Old Navy's will be investments under the Gap consolidated balance sheet. Also, what goes under this category are fixed tangible asset held for speculation. So you could buy a building, a piece of land, and what you want to do is you want to sell it. You did not buy it to operate this asset, because if you wanted to buy it and operate the asset, it will be under property, plant, and equipment under this category. You bought this piece of land or this equipment because you want to resell it and make a profit. You would report those at realizable value, how much you can get for them. So this is basically long-term investments. Sometimes you could have under long-term investments notes receivable. Notes receivable that's due greater than 1 year. And what's a notes receivable? It's when you sell to customers and they promise to pay you and they sign this promise, you're going to charge them interest, and they will not pay you within 1 year. It's longer than 1 year. Therefore, it's an investment because you're getting interest and you're not going to get the full amount within 1 year. Therefore, it is a long-term investment. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. Which of the following item is considered cash equivalent? Is it account receivable? Not at all. Account receivable are unpaid amount from customers. It's account receivable. It's not cash equivalent. B, short-term, highly liquid investments that are readily convertible to known amount of cash. Yes, that's the definition of a cash equivalent. Something that's short-term, and to be more specific, its original maturity is less than 3 months. Right from the beginning, it's less than 3 months. It's highly liquid. It means it can be easily converted to cash, and that amount of cash is known. There's no risk of losing value. U.S. Treasury, commercial paper are common example of this. C, cash restricted to repay long-term debt. It's cash restricted. It's not cash equivalent. Cash restricted is its own categories of cash. So A is out, C is out. Prepaid utility expense. They have their own categories. Prepaid. And all of these are all current assets, but cash equivalent are short-term, highly liquid investments, readily converted to cash with a known amount, no risk whatsoever. What should you do now? You want to go to Farhat Lectures. Look at additional resources, multiple choice, true-false exercises that will help you. Whether you are an accounting student, CPA, CMA, CFA, or any other professional certification. Invest in yourself. That's the best investment you can make. Good luck and stay safe.